Good morning and welcome to another edition of Take 5. It is Saturday, March 12th, 2011. We got a lot to cover in a short period of time, so let's get to it. Matthew chapter 9, verse 38. And Jesus went throughout all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every affliction. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. And he said to his disciples, The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest. And he called to him his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every disease and every affliction. We'll stop there. So Jesus is continuing to heal, and we won't get into any specific healings, but he's just continuing to doing the same things he's been doing, and he's casting out demons and doing these kinds of things. And he sees the crowds and he has compassion because they're harassed and helpless and they don't have a shepherd to lead them. And he knows what's coming, and what's coming is the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. The reason I tell you that, and I put a link on my Facebook page for those of you who are my Facebook friends, the Wikipedia article, and you're welcome to study this much more in depth if you want to. It's fascinating stuff. But there is a judgment coming to the house of Israel. And the next chapter, the next several chapters, is going to be referring to that. It's not referring to the final judgment. Now that's coming too. But Jesus specifically is going to be dealing with the upcoming judgment, which is going to be some 30 or 40 years away from the time he's talking now. Now none of them know that, but he knows it. Jesus knows about this judgment. And he's wanting them to be ready. And when he said the harvest is plentiful, harvest is referring to judgment. When they harvested their wheat back then, they took a sickle and they just did that with it. And they took everything, whether it was the wheat, the weeds, the bugs, everything. They gathered it all together and they'd separate it later. And we'll see that in Matthew chapter 13. He talks about that. There's a harvest for the earth. That's referred to in Revelation 14. But this is talking about the upcoming judgment in AD 70 on the city of Jerusalem by the Roman general Titus. And so he's looking at these folks and saying they're not ready. They're not ready to face judgment. He has compassion on them. So he tells his disciples, his 12 apostles, he says, you guys pray for workers. And then he does something interesting. Then he calls them to him and he gives them authority to get out there and cast out demons and heal diseases and do the same things he's been doing. And we'll get more specific into that as we get into chapter 10. But he's basically saying, you guys pray for workers, and now guess what? You are the workers. So there's two lessons I want us to learn today. The first lesson is live your prayers. If you're praying for workers, be a worker. Or in this version it says laborers. Be a laborer in the harvest field. Now we don't have the upcoming, well we don't know, but we don't think we have the upcoming judgment, but there is the final judgment. And of course everybody's life will face judgment when they die. So there's a harvest field. That's our world. That's the harvest field. We need to be workers in the harvest field. Pray for workers. But whatever you pray for, live it out. If you're praying for mercy, be a merciful person. If you're praying for blessing, bless others. See, whatever you pray for, you do that. Do the thing you're praying for. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. All right. Second thing is be ready for judgment. Some of you maybe are not ready for judgment right now. Your lives aren't right. You're not living for Jesus. Maybe you've never known Jesus and have never had a relationship with him. Well, you're certainly not ready for the harvest. But you can get ready. You've got time. Well, at least we don't know we have time, but get ready quick. You may not have time. I mean, that's what I meant to say. I want to give you hope, but we don't know. The folks in Japan that died, and I have compassion on all the families and people that are missing loved ones right now in Japan. But that was Judgment Day for them. That was it. And that was the harvest for all those folks. Now, I hope most of them, or many of them, had a relationship with Jesus. I don't know these people. And God will be their final judge. So, things like that can happen all over the place. But the fact is, people are dying. And I told you we were going to transition. And we're going to be in a much, much more serious phase right now in the next few chapters. People are in transition. So those of us who call ourselves followers of Jesus need to be like these guys, these 12 guys, and go into the harvest field and try to get as many of them ready for the harvest day as we can. Clear enough? Come back tomorrow for another edition of Take 5.